The architecture of the trauma-forged mind. High intelligence often isn't born from a quiet life. It is frequently forged in the fires of adversity. This is what we call traumatic intelligence. While most people see trauma as something that only breaks us, for a rare few, it rewires the brain into a high-functioning, hyper-perceptive, and deeply analytical instrument of survival. This isn't just about being book smart. It is a rare form of cognitive evolution born from the need to predict, adapt, and endure. If you have ever felt like you see the world through a different lens, one that is sharper, more intense, and perhaps a bit more guarded, you might possess this rare form of intellect. Hyper-vigilant pattern recognition. In a chaotic environment, the ability to predict a threat before it manifests is a survival mechanism. This translates into a brain that scans for micro-expressions, shifts in tone, and subtle inconsistencies in logic. While others see a simple conversation, you see a chess match. You aren't just observant. Your brain is running a background script that analyzes body language and vocal fluctuations at a granular level. You don't just hear what people say, you see the architecture of their intent. This heightened awareness allows you to connect dots that others don't even see exist. You notice the glitch in the matrix long before anyone else feels the floor move. Emotional alchemization. This is the ability to take intense, often painful emotions and transmute them into fuel for focus. Those with traumatic intelligence often find their greatest periods of productivity or creativity occur during or immediately after a crisis. Because your brain is accustomed to operating under high cortisol levels, you have developed a unique calm-in-the-storm persona. Where others freeze, you become clinical. Your mind narrows its focus to the most efficient path forward, because for you, efficiency was once a matter of safety. You have learned that feeling the pain is a luxury you can afford later. Solving the problem is the requirement for now. Radical autodidacticism. When you grow up in an environment where you cannot rely on the adults or systems around you for truth or stability, you learn to find it yourself. This leads to a compulsive need to master subjects independently. You don't just learn a hobby, you deconstruct it. You become an expert in niche fields because knowing provides a sense of control that the world once denied you. Your intellect is your fortress. You trust your own research more than any institutional authority because you have learned that the only person who will never lie to you is the data you vetted yourself. The observer complex. You likely feel like an outsider even in rooms where you were welcomed. This is because your brain is constantly toggling between participating and analyzing. You are the observer of your own life. This detachment is a defense mechanism that allows you to remain objective, but it also grants you an incredible ability to see systemic flaws. In a professional setting, you are the one who sees the looming bankruptcy or the toxic culture shift 6 months before it hits. In personal life, you see the cracks in a relationship while everyone else is still in the honeymoon phase. This distance is lonely, but it is also the source of your most profound insights. Preemptive problem solving. You live 3 steps ahead of everyone else. You don't just solve problems, you solve problems that haven't happened yet. This is often mistaken for anxiety, but the key difference is the output. If your worrying results in a perfectly executed backup plan and a streamlined process, it is traumatic intelligence. You have simulated every worst-case scenario so many times that reality rarely surprises you. When the unthinkable happens to others, it is simply scenario B to you, for which you already have a checklist. High-definition empathy. This isn't the bleeding heart type of empathy. It is a calculated, visceral understanding of human suffering and motivation. Because you have navigated the darkest parts of your own psyche, you can read the pain in others with surgical precision. You know exactly what someone needs to hear to feel safe, or exactly where their weaknesses lie. This makes you an incredible leader or therapist, but it also carries the heavy burden of feeling the weight of the room the moment you walk in. You aren't just sympathetic, you are resonant. The paradox of complexity and simplicity. You are deeply frustrated by inefficiency. People with traumatic intelligence often find complex systems like coding, financial markets, or physics easy to understand, but they struggle with simple social conventions that seem illogical or performative. Small talk feels like a waste of processing power. You value the truth above harmony. You would rather have a harsh, functional reality than a beautiful, dysfunctional lie. Your brain is wired to strip away the fluff and get to the core of the matter, which often makes you seem too intense for those who live on the surface. The burnout cycle resilience. You have a strangely high tolerance for mental exhaustion. Because your baseline for stress was set so high early in life, you can push yourself far past the point where others quit. However, this comes with a crash. You operate in high-intensity bursts of genius, followed by periods of absolute sensory withdrawal. This isn't laziness, it is your nervous system resetting from the sheer amount of data your brain processes daily. You are like a high-performance engine that requires cooling periods to prevent a total meltdown. Sophisticated reframing, the wit. Traumatic intelligence often manifests as a sharp, dark, or highly observational wit. Humor is the ultimate coping mechanism. It requires the brain to take a painful or terrifying concept and flip the perspective until it becomes absurd. If you find yourself making light of situations that others find heavy, it's a sign that your intellect has mastered the art of cognitive reframing. You use humor not just to deflect, but to dissect the reality around you. Unshakable moral autonomy. You do not follow the crowd. When you have seen the rules of the world fail you, you stop believing in them blindly. You develop your own internal compass based on logic, survival, and a deep-seated need for justice. You are often the whistleblower or the disruptor because you aren't afraid of the social consequences of being right. Your loyalty is to the truth, not the tribe. The cost of the gift. Traumatic intelligence is a double-edged sword. It offers a level of insight and resilience that cannot be taught in a classroom, but it requires a lifetime of managing a brain that never truly turns off. The hypervigilance that saves you in a crisis can lead to isolation in times of peace. The goal is not to fix this intelligence, but to harness it. You are not just a product of what happened to you. You are the architect of the sophisticated mind that grew out of it. If you recognize these signs, know that your perspective is not a burden. It is a rare and powerful gift. You see what others miss. You survive where others fail. You are the strategic mind born from the chaos.